Tonight, the world of love and hip-hop is spinning completely out of control. Out of nowhere, whispers have turned into roars, and fans can't stop talking about what many are calling the most shocking leak in the franchise's entire history. Exposed tapes. Yes, tapes have allegedly surfaced. Tapes that could flip the glamorous lives of Yandy and Mendeecees upside down. And at the center of the storm, none other than Kirk Frost and Rasheeda Frost. People are saying Kirk and Rasheeda didn't just drop shade this time, they dropped bombs, tearing open secrets that were never meant to see daylight. The streets are buzzing, social media is on fire, and fans are demanding answers. Could these recordings really exist? Are Kirk and Rasheeda using them as their ultimate weapon in this never-ending reality TV war? One thing's for sure, emotions are boiling, friendships are hanging by a thread, and the entire love and hip-hop family has been left shaken. Tonight, we dig into the drama, the betrayal, and the explosive claims that have everyone's jaws on the floor. Buckle up, because what's about to be uncovered might just change everything fans thought they knew. Inside that crowded room filled with tension and whispers, the air felt heavier than ever. As if every word carried the weight of betrayal and every glance hid a secret, cast members tried to keep their composure. But their eyes betrayed them, darting nervously toward the center of the conflict, where anger and suspicion seemed to be boiling over. It all began with a single statement, sharp and cutting, slicing through the noise like a blade. Nobody expected it, and once spoken, there was no way to take it back. The moment the words landed, silence consumed the room, as if even the walls leaned in to listen. Shock twisted across faces, some hands flew to mouths. Others clutched at chests like they'd been stabbed in the heart. The accused stood tall at first, denying everything with a cold, steady tone. But even that firmness could not erase the doubt already spreading through every corner of the room. The more Mendeecees defended himself, the more the crowd began to murmur, questioning whether his calmness was proof of innocence or the polished mask of someone who had lied before. Whispers became side conversations exploded into open accusations. The room slowly transformed from a gathering into a battlefield, where words turned into weapons and silence felt just as dangerous as shouting. Then, one cast member slammed a hand against the table with thunderous force, demanding the truth. The sound echoed, and suddenly every heart in the room raced, every breath shallow, waiting to see how far this confrontation would go. Mendeecees shifted uncomfortably, jaw tightening, eyes scanning the faces around him as though searching for a single lie, yet finding none. Every stare sliced deeper, and it was clear this was no longer about one accusation. This was about loyalty, about trust, about the unspoken truth buried beneath years of fake smiles and handshakes. As voices grew louder, the energy in the room turned electric, sparking with a tension that threatened to explode at any moment. One voice, trembling with rage, rose above the rest. That voice didn't just accuse Mendeecees. It accused everyone who had defended him in the past. Instantly, old grudges reignited, and long-healed wounds were ripped open. Cast members who once stood shoulder to shoulder now pointed fingers at one another. Voices cracked, tears welled, and hands shook as memories of past betrayals poured back in like an unstoppable flood. Then someone shouted that this wasn't the first time secrets had been hidden. Gasps spread across the room. Suddenly, it wasn't just Mendeecees under fire. Everyone was trapped in a web of lies, each thread pulling tighter, threatening to strangle them all. Through the chaos, one figure stepped forward, calm, steady, but powerful, demanding silence. Though the shouting eased, the tension grew even sharper. Every eye locked on the speaker, who claimed to know more than what had already been revealed. Each pause stretched unbearably long, dragging the entire room into a rhythm of dread and anticipation. Then came the revelation, details so specific, so damning, that disbelief shook the air. Cast members recoiled, some covering their ears, others leaning in, desperate to hear every word. Mendeecees clenched his fists, lips trembling with fury, trying to speak but failing to undo the damage. The revelations dug deep, unearthing buried connections and exposing hidden motives that left the cast questioning everything they thought they knew. Seconds dragged like eternity. Arguments roared back to life, louder, harsher, voices cracking under the weight of anger and grief. Someone begged for calm, but their words drowned beneath the thunder of accusations and counterattacks. The walls seemed to close, and his emotions spilled uncontrollably into threats, curses, and vows of revenge. And then, finally, Mendeecees spoke again. But what left his lips wasn't denial, it was defiance. His words slashed through the noise like a blade, silencing the room. Not because anyone believed him, but because his sheer boldness left everyone stunned. Mendeecees declared this was only the beginning. He warned that the truth wouldn't just destroy one person's reputation, it would shatter the very foundation holding them all together. Gasps echoed, bodies shifted. Eyes darted nervously as if waiting for the ground beneath them to collapse. The tension was suffocating. Cast members trembled, caught between fear and the urge to finally release their secrets. The silence was unbearable, every second a war between fear and courage, between silence and confession. And then, finally, one cast member broke, their voice shook, but their words cut like lightning, exposing what they had witnessed long ago but kept buried in fear. The reaction was instant and violent. Screams filled the room, tears flowed, and some even tried to flee as if escaping could undo the truth. Mendeecees' face twisted with fury and despair, realizing control had slipped from his hands, his carefully woven mask crumbling in front of everyone. Yet even in that chaos, there was something in his eyes, not defeat, but calculation. A look that promised this was far from over. And just as the night seemed ready to collapse under its own weight, an unexpected figure stepped into the room. Their very presence silenced the chaos. Every head turned, eyes widened in shock. This person was not supposed to be there, not supposed to know, not supposed to return. Yet here they stood, unreadable, their arrival sending chills down every spine. The cast froze, waiting breathlessly for the next revelation, for the truth that could unravel everything. The tension climbed higher as Sierra Gates stepped forward, her expression hardened, her hands trembling as she struggled to contain her fury. Across the room, Erica Mena smirked like she was savoring every second of the chaos. Yandy Smith's breathing grew uneven, her rage mixing with humiliation, while Mendeecees shifted in his chair, his jaw tight, his eyes darting nervously. Erica Mena let out a quiet laugh, enjoying the spectacle like it was her personal victory, while producers whispered frantically behind the cameras, realizing the scene was spiraling beyond control. Finally, Mendeecees stood, moving between Yandy and Sierra, trying desperately to keep the women apart, but the fire in their eyes was too strong. Sierra Gates stormed forward, grabbing Yandy's arm, not enough to hurt, but enough to make her point clear. "You want to play games with me? Then don't cry when the truth comes out," Sierra hissed, her voice shaking with rage. Yandy Smith yanked her arm back, her voice trembling as she shot back. "I've had enough of people like you thinking you can define me. You don't know what I've sacrificed." The words dropped heavy, raw and vulnerable, revealing more than Yandy intended. For a second, the room froze. Even Erica Mena's smirk faltered. And then Sierra snapped, lunging forward and yanking Yandy's wig straight off her head. The entire room exploded. Cast members screamed. Producers scrambled. Hands rushed to pull them apart. Yandy Smith stumbled, clutching at her exposed head, eyes wide with humiliation. As the cameras captured every raw detail of her fury, gasps, questions, outrage, it all poured into the live stream as Rasheeda Frost turned the camera on herself, her voice raw and trembling with emotion. "Y'all think this show is just scripted drama? Nah. This right here is real." Mendeecees Harris just put his hands on me in front of everyone, in front of the cameras, and they all just stood there. Within seconds, the flood of reactions was unstoppable. Some fans were in disbelief, others furious, and thousands demanded proof. But the proof was already there, the live stream itself. The camera caught Mendeecees in the background, his face tightening as he realized the situation was spiraling beyond his control. He reached out, trying to block the phone from showing his face, but it was too late. Millions of screenshots had already been taken, and the story spread across social media like wildfire. Rasheeda's voice cracked as she continued, but she refused to stop. "They want us to believe we're family on this set, that we got each other's backs. But look what happens when the cameras catch the truth. No one says a word, no one stops him. They'd rather protect their precious brand than protect a woman standing right here." Those words hit harder than the slap itself, because they weren't just about Mendeecees anymore, they were about the entire machine, the network, the producers, the cast who had all watched in silence. The comments section exploded instantly, with hashtags demanding justice, boycotts, and accountability. It was no longer just a fight, it had become a movement. Finally, Mendeecees snapped, his voice booming as he tried to drown her out. "You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what I've been through. What I've been." Holding back, his words were desperate, almost pleading, but to the live audience, they sounded like nothing but excuses. Rasheeda swung the phone directly on him, her glare cutting through the screen. "So what? That gives you the right to put your hands on me? Is that what you're saying? Say it. Say it to the millions watching right now." The weight of her challenge hung in the air. Mendeecees froze, his mouth opening and closing. Trapped in a tangle of thoughts he couldn't untangle, the live audience devoured it, their comments flooding in, demanding he respond. But his silence was more damning than any confession. Producers rushed in, finally realizing the situation was spiraling beyond control. They begged Rasheeda to end the live, to calm down. But Rasheeda shoved their hands away, her eyes blazing. "Don't touch me, don't tell me what to do, y'all let this happen. And now the world gets to see it." Every last bit of it. Mendeecees' frustration cracked into rage. "You think I'm the villain? You think I don't have scars, y'all? Never cared about my truth," he shouted. But Rasheeda didn't flinch. "Then tell your truth without laying hands on someone else. You want to be heard? Fine. But you crossed a line you can't take back." The tension in the room was unbearable. Every second dragged like an eternity. The live stream audience was glued to their screens, some in tears, others outraged. Many stunned at the rawness of what they were witnessing. Behind the scenes, producers scrambled, but it was clear nothing would ever be the same again. On social media, the story dominated every platform within minutes. Blogs, gossip pages, and media outlets were tagged non-stop. Headlines were being written in real time. Clips spread endlessly. Rasheeda Frost and Mendeecees Harris were now at the center of a storm neither of them could control. The live ended abruptly when a crew member finally managed to snatch the phone away. But the damage was done. Rasheeda stormed off set, tears streaking her face, while Mendeecees stood frozen, staring at the empty space she left behind. The weight of his actions pressed on him, heavy and suffocating. But instead of remorse, his expression showed confusion, anger, and fear of what was coming next. Because what was coming was bigger than either of them could have imagined. In her dressing room, Rasheeda Frost sat silently, the soft hum of the lights mixing with the muffled chaos outside. She stared at her reflection, hands clasped tight, as if holding her thoughts together by force. Her phone buzzed, another message from Kirk Frost, but she didn't dare open it. The weight of the past few days pressed hard on her chest. Every argument, every accusation, every blow-up replayed in her mind, turning her life into a storm she couldn't control elsewhere. Yandy Smith paced furiously, her voice low but sharp as she vented to a close friend over the phone. Her hands gestured wildly, her words trembling with anger and humiliation. She couldn't believe people she once called family had turned into enemies overnight. She was torn between defending Mendeecees and exposing the chaos he had created. The betrayal burned deep, and the public eyes watching her every move only twisted the knife further. Meanwhile, Mendeecees Harris leaned against the wall outside the set, his head tilted back, eyes shut as if trying to block out the day. But every word Rasheeda had shouted replayed in his mind, cutting deeper each time. He tried to convince himself he was still in control, but the truth gnawed at him. He wasn't. He had let the moment consume him, and now he was stuck with the fallout. Crew members whispered as they passed, some shaking their heads, others furiously texting what they had just witnessed. The judgment was thick in the air. Across the lot, Kirk Frost wasn't hiding. He stormed out earlier, his voice echoing as he cursed anyone within earshot. His rage wasn't just about what happened on camera, it was years of resentment boiling over. The cycle of betrayal and exposure he couldn't escape, kicking his car in frustration. His hands shook as his chest heaved. Yet beneath the anger was hollowness, the reminder of love and trust that had been shattered long ago. By nightfall, social media had exploded. Clips spread like wildfire, fan pages reposted everything, and comments poured in endlessly. Some defended Rasheeda, praising her for standing strong, while others accused her of going too far. Yandy Smith's name trended within minutes, with half the internet demanding answers and the other half digging up old controversies, memes, reaction videos, debates. This wasn't just a scandal anymore. It was a cultural storm, threatening to swallow them all. And yet, the cast wasn't done. Rasheeda Frost went live again, her breathing shaky but her voice raw with determination. She told her side, unfiltered and unedited, pouring out every wound and betrayal. The comments flew into fast to read, love and hate wrapping around her like a storm across town. Yandy Smith saw the live and snapped. Her blood boiled as she recorded her own, painting herself as the one betrayed. Soon, thousands joined her stream too. It was no longer just a scandal, it was a digital war. To live streams, to women, one storm. Fans picked sides, hashtags, split timelines, and every second the fire grew hotter. Mendeecees Harris scrolled through the chaos, his heart racing as he realized just how out of control it had all become. Apologies felt hollow. Explanations felt too late. No matter what he said, the damage was done. Meanwhile, Kirk Frost sat in his car, shaking his head as he watched clip after clip, stunned at how quickly private pain had turned into public entertainment. The entire city buzzed with scandal. Restaurants, barbershops, studios everywhere. Their names were on people's lips. The drama wasn't just headlines anymore, it was the only conversation that mattered. Deep down, each of them knew one truth: there was no going back. The bonds that held them together were fractured. No amount of apologies could erase what the world had seen. Family, you've just witnessed one of the wildest rides reality TV has ever thrown at us. The fights, the betrayals, the tears, the chaos. Every second feels like it could change everything. But here's a real question. What comes next? Will the truth finally come out? Or will more secrets keep piling up until everything collapses? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell us who you think crossed the line. Hit like if you were as shocked as we were. And subscribe, because trust me, the fallout from this is just beginning. More twists, more drama, and more shocking revelations are waiting. If tonight proved anything, it's this: the story is far from over. Asterisk.